All right, welcome. Today is Thursday, it's 1:05. I'm Carlton Brown, and I help professionals and people navigate the confusion and stress that comes through life transitions so that they can enjoy the moments that matter and have the energy to create those moments as well. Well, today on Thursday, each and every Thursday, I like to share tips and strategies that help anyone really get a sense of how they're going to do that with some very practical tips and strategies that just can make it a little more easier for everyone. So, with that, today we're just going to talk about some elements that can possibly help you go forward in achieving some of the vision that you have for your life or some of the goals that you have. And what made me think about this was I was on a hike, and in going on this hike, there was a waterfall. So to get to the top of the waterfall, you had this wonderful paved set of stairs. It was well manicured, it was well laid out, all the bricks looked to be in great shape. But that was the main way to get to the top of the waterfall. Well, as I kept going, I started to notice on the right-hand side, there was a secondary path. This path was, it was a rock face. It was going in the same direction, but something about it just really kind of spoke to me. And I think it's going to resonate with you in the same way. And so what I saw with this path was it's going in the same direction. As you started to go up to waterfall, you realize it ended in the same destination. But for many of us, this is kind of what we're navigating. This is kind of what we're walking through on a daily basis. We have this perception that life and the transitions that need to be made are going to be navigated by just going up the stairs, right? Like taking this wonderfully paved, linear way of pathway, if you will, to the destination we're going to get to. But the truth is that we're probably facing the secondary path each and every day. And what I mean by that is it's not very clear. There were shrubs overgrowing it. There weren't really a great definition of defined steps, but there were places where you can get your footing and you can and take a step, and you may have to progress more slowly. And I wanted to make sure that, you come away with today is some encouragement to keep going up that path. Because again, there's going to be some benefit to taking that path, even if you didn't get to choose it yourself intentionally. You may be on it, you may recognize that you're on it, but now you get a chance to really make it work for you. So allow me to share some tips that are going to help you make this path that you're currently on in terms of that you're trying to traverse in this current stage of life work for you. So one thing I will say is, like, first and foremost, you're on this path that's going in the right direction. It doesn't have solid footing. There's a few things that it's going to force you to do. The first thing it's going to force you to do is focus. It's going to force you to focus on what's in front of you at that current time. Like, what really be more present is what I would describe it as. You're not going to be able to just casually go about, going along this path and reaching your destination. In fact, because it's not as clear, you're probably going to have to go slower. You're going to have to be very intentional in where you put your feet and how you do step forward, right? So in the end, you're going to have to be more present. And sometimes being more present means you're more aware of the surroundings you have. You're more, again, understanding that it does have some limitations. You can't take as big of steps. The terrain itself may not allow you to move as fast as you want to. So you're going to have to just accept that this is where you are. So I would say that's the first thing, is really, it's going to drive more present mindedness. The second thing this type of step and this type of pathway rather does for many of us is it makes us really focus on being super intentional with how we go about doing the things that we do. Sometimes the linear path, the well-defined stairs, you can just casually go because you're able to trust that there's going to be another step so far along. But when you don't have that defined out fully and it's not fully baked out, that's okay. Because what you're going to see is that as you start to be intentional and accepting of the environment, you're going to be able to be very more aware of the type of action you want to take. And then that's what you're going to have to trust and execute more fully. So it's really going to be in that intentionality that's going to move you to your goal, to the vision that you have more in a more efficient manner, if you will. Okay. So again, it's going to help you become intentional just because of the nature of it. And then I think the last thing I would love to just highlight about this path is that it puts us in a great position, in a good opportunity, if you will, to really get a sense of our own intuition. The difference between taking a linear pathway that's really well defined versus a pathway that you can kind of visually or physically or mentally see, but you're super understanding that it's just not crystal clear, but it's there, right? Is that you get to trust your instinct. We sit back and we kind of ignore this intuition side that we have, or this instinctual instinct side that we have, and in ignoring it, we don't get the opportunity to call on it when we really could use it to benefit us in our decision making, or in how we go about making the choices that we make, or how we go about, executing on the strategies that we put in front of ourselves, right? But when we're able to really just kind of hone in on what is our body telling us, what is our mind telling us in this moment, what are our feelings and emotions sharing in terms of, are we operating from a space where we're safe and feeling supported, or are we feeling triggered by something? It's in those nuanced like nudges from our intuition and our instinct that we can really navigate through some very dangerous terrain, some very choppy, situations and circumstances when it comes to life in general. Because again, that's what it's there for. We're wired to sense with all of our senses. We're wired to be able to just kind of navigate different challenges once we engage the different senses that we have. And sometimes, again, we ignore it. So when you start to understand that you're on this path to go towards a goal, you're really not going to be able to pivot off of that path as easy as you think. So again, the three things I want you to do after you embrace the fact that you're just where you are is lean on to that present mindedness, trust that if you apply intention and intention to it, be very intentional on how you go about making your decisions and trusting your instincts to get to that, you're going to reach to your goal. All right. So just be present, be intentional, and let it hone that intentionality, but also let it hone that instinct and that intuition that you have. You're going to be able to really move forward and start taking, the steps that you need. They may not be as fast, but you can still make that progress that you want to exceed. So with that, this is my time with you. I just want to let you know I appreciate you for giving me your time and your energy. If there are any questions, or if you would love to contact me, please scan the QR code. It takes you directly to where you can join my weekly newsletter community, as well as get more information about the seminar, workshop, and coaching business and services that I provide. With that, I look forward to touching base with you next week and just trying to help you navigate the confusion and stress that comes with these life transitions. All in all,